Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Sunday Night Football with Bengal Jim and Friends. And my dudes on the screen here, James from Brownsburg, Indiana. His Brownsburg boys beat up on our St. X Cincinnati boys last night in high school football on ESPN 2 or 3 or something, James. Congratulations.
The Ocho. It was on the Ocho.
Oh, it was on the Ocho. And then our Where's Jamie segment in Canada today. Jamie is in Frogmore, Ontario.
Hey, cool.
Same province.
No, same province, never heard of it. I also failed geography.
Well, yeah, we did too. Well, hey, just want again, thanks everybody for joining us. Also want to say a shout out to our friends from Houday Nation on Facebook. Great guys. Make sure you follow them. And a lot of stuff to talk about today, guys. I mean, an awful lot of stuff going on today, this week. I guess the first thing we want to make an announcement on, guys, is let's talk about our drive-in tailgate. We've been working really hard on finalizing the details on that. Let's kick that off, James. So Cincinnati's first ever drive-in tailgate, and we've got things kind of set up here. We put a press release out here earlier this week on all of our social media platforms. And again, guys, it's important to understand we're going to do this correctly. We're going to do it right. We're going to do it safely. We have a food truck in place. We've got porta potties ordered. We've got some bins. We've got garbage stuff ready to roll. So we're gonna do this and do this right. So
we had our first class PR team write that press release. So we want to thank the Bengal Jim and Friends PR team for putting that together. The debut of the Jimbotron for the first time ever will be there. We are going to shoot the show that Sunday from there. Since it is a 4 o'clock kickoff, we'll let everybody know what time. And Jamie's sharing that now. A lot of people have asked, how do I reserve my spot? So unlike previous years where you need a special credential to get into the lot to park your car to tailgate with us, as we've said, this is a private lot. So to reserve your spot, you can follow the link here. That'll walk you through the simple process. A portion of the proceeds will go to our friends at the Ken Anderson Alliance. So we're excited to give back to them. In addition, I believe they will be there with the merch. I have a different Ken Anderson Alliance shirt on tonight that you can purchase through their website. But they should be there with some merch, and just excited. Like you said, Jimmy, it's going to be an opportunity to get together since we can't get in the stadium, but do it safely and reunite with our Bengals fans. It's been a while since we've seen a lot of them. And also we're going to tie in our friends from around the globe for our virtual portion of that tailgate. So it's going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, so just kind of we'll walk through a little bit more detail on this, guys. I know we've just been getting deluged with trying to get more details out on this. So let's be very clear, guys. There's limited parking, guys. This lot will hold over 100 vehicles. We're doing very limited parking to make sure we got the spacing accurate on this for the safety on this. So limited spaces are available. So if you want to be in on this, be live with us at the tailgate, the drive-in tailgate, go ahead and make sure you click that link and get your spot reserved quickly. We are expecting this to sell out quickly, guys. So we're not going to be extending it or adding more vehicles to the lot. We have our allotment. When it's done, it's done. The lots will open up. Right now, we're tentatively looking at from 11 o'clock, opening the lot up. We'll have food truck there, a food truck called Mexique, a Mexican-American flair, great stuff, great food, barbecue, and all kinds of stuff. You're going to have to try their, gosh damn, they got mac and cheese. They got all kinds of stuff. We're going to post a menu later this week later this week on what you're going to be able to order there. Game time is 4:05 that day, late game. And James has a giant Jumbotron, an LED TV basically that we're going to watch the game right there in the parking lot, guys. So it's going to be a lot of fun. There'll be more information. When you register, you're going to be given your email and your phone number. And we'll send you guys probably an email following up just to let you know that, hey, there's do's and don'ts when we do this tailgate. In order to do this and do this properly, we will send you guys an email with some further instructions on what to expect and what to do and those type of things. So pretty damn excited about this, guys. We're getting a lot of exposure on this. But if you're able to attend, make sure you lock this up probably within the next day or two, because the rest of these spots are going to fill up quickly.
Yeah. definitely.
And we'll have more information on the virtual tailgate as well. I got some people in the chat asking about that.
Yep. Yeah, Ken Anderson is going to kick off our show that day from the parking lot. He's going to kick off the show, whether he's there in person or if he's not there in person, he will be live with us on the virtual part of that, kicking off the tailgate, the virtual tailgate that day for us. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're working on other folks across the country and across the world, tying them into the virtual piece of that as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, just like our normal ones in years past. But the nice part about this is those that don't have that special credential can drive right in. So excited for that. Again, haven't seen a lot of people in a while, so look forward to that. I think our buddy Craig Johnson's going to have some of those Joe Burrow national championship cigars there. He might share some, he might not. Buddy Dell from his new brewery will be there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. We'll do it in a safe manner. And again, if you're not in the area or can't make it, definitely tune in virtually. We will be doing an hour show from the lot that Sunday, and we'll announce that time as we get closer. Along those lines, one of our fans, John Stenger, it's his birthday today. So we want to wish him a happy birthday to John, and we got a lot to cover tonight. We've kind of got a different format, but man, we have a lot to cover. If you want to go over that, Jimmy.
Yeah, so we're going to get into the scrimmage. Scrimmage just got over with a few minutes ago, so we're going to dig into that here in a little bit. We're going to talk about the happenings here earlier this week of the Players' March over to the Freedom Center. We're going to dig into that conversation slightly. We pre-recorded a CJ Uzomah interview earlier this week, and I'm telling you, this guy is hilarious. And we had a lot of fun. It's maybe a 10 to 12 minute interview. We got a lot of stuff in it at 10 to 12 minutes you're going to want to watch. He was a lot of fun in that interview. We're then going to go right into the question of the week, and it's kind of a fun question of the week for you guys. And then we're going to go into a very, very special extended version of Bengals History 101. We have a local historian here, Cam Miller, with Cam Miller Films, as he's going to preview his new film that's coming out sometime in September, I think mid-September, called Before the Bengals. And we're going to talk about football history prior to 1968, where it started in Cincinnati and how we got to the Bengals. So very excited about this stuff. This is being debuted tonight on our show, that the prelude that he's going to show us here, a couple-minute video. So very excited about that. So we're going to actually kind of take time at the end, probably that last half an hour, and go over that Bengals History 101 with Cam Miller. So I guess next topic, guys, let's get right into the scrimmage discussion. So, man, I tell you what, I can't remember. This is the annual orange and black scrimmage that they do every single year. I have made every one of those for the last 30 years. I'm putting an asterisk on this year. I was down at the stadium. I just couldn't get in. I was taking a walk down there. I was walking the perimeter. Security was pretty tight. I could not get in and watch that scrimmage, but I'm sure a lot of us listened to it on 700 just now. So let's dig into that. It was really strange to hear the, Lap and Horde and Constantipelli on air today, and they were piping in crowd noise, maybe a little over the top crowd noise. It sounded like, and there was no officials today. And Lap made a good point on the radio, guys, about, players need preseason. These officials need work too. So how's that going to affect the start of the season when the officials not getting in, some of these scrimmages and getting their stuff taken care of? So it was very odd not to have officials on the field today. No AJ Green, no Joe Mixon, no Ross, no Carlos, no Lawson. Not a big deal, guys. These, why push them at this point? We need them for the start of the season. And I'll just start it off. I know you guys listen to it too, but so Joe Burrow starts the first drive off 0 for 3. I'm like, uh-oh. The next 10 passes, he goes 9 for 10 and just lights them up. I don't know what he officially finished with. Maybe it was like 16 for 27 with a couple touchdowns. He threw an interception that wasn't an interception because it would have been called pass interference if there were officials there. So, for him to start off 0-3 as a rookie in that live environment and then come back and just go 9 for 10 and just light it up was fun to hear.
I wish I could see it. You want to see those 3 that didn't get completed just to see if it was actually 0 for 3. But go ahead.
And we saw some of our friends in the Cincy media share some videos, prior, players warming up, things like that. So it was good to see the players on the field. This is, unfortunately, the times we're living in. This was the cards that were dealt. Did get a chance to listen to it on 700 WLW. I'm sure a lot of fans watched that Seahawks game today that they also aired. But, we're getting closer. 2 weeks from today. That's the exciting part. My biggest takeaway is get through the scrimmage, no injuries. I think Zach alluded to it in the post-game press conference, which was on right before our show. They weren't full-blown tackling. They want to keep these guys healthy, and then that's the biggest thing. 2 weeks from today, 4 p.m. It's showtime. So whatever we need to wrap whoever in bubble wrap until then. Do that, and that way we've got all cannons firing for September 13th.
Yeah, I mean, so just a couple quick last little thing on the scrimmage today, man. I know I see some post in here about Mike Thomas seemed to be very involved in the offense today.
Yep.
CJ Uzomah, Sample, Tyler Boyd. I tell you what, that's going to be special chemistry right there with him and Joe. So, and AJ's not even on the damn field. And the pace of the game, the scrimmage today, now again, could be because officials were not on the field, right? But the pace seemed to be like the old late 80s hurry up offense, man. They were going. So it's one thing I noticed listening to it. Is, man, they were just going up, just snapping and calling plays and going. So
it was just fun to hear football again. You know what I mean? Like I cannot wait.
And our buddy Lapp was, had the full excitement. You heard the booms and things like that from. I mean, Lapp could announce a grass cutting contest, and he would just be full of emotion. And he had that, he had that today. So that was, great to see. Obviously Dan Horde was on last week. Two of the best in the business, and they had the energy. I think they're amped up and ready to go, just like all of us, the fans are.
Yep.
So let's get into, I thought another thing that a very powerful moment in not just this year, but I think in Bengals history happened this week, guys. When you saw the players march from Paul Brown Stadium all the way down to Banks area, all the way in front of the Freedom Center, it wasn't just the players. It was the players, the coaches, the ownership, that entire front office marched in front of that and made an announcement in front of the Freedom Center. The unity that showed, as you see Mike Brown standing right behind Trey Hopkins there. Trey Hopkins, man, what a very well spoken young man there. That guy was awesome to listen to, and to hear Joe Burrow come up as a white player and say what he had to say was very powerful to me to see that. I mean, I thought it was a great. I think it was Joe Burrow. This is not an issue of politics, but a fight for equality. And I was hearing Lapp today. Talk about, I think it was 1975, 76. I can't remember. It was one of the Bengals Beat podcast, him and Dan Horde do. And Lapp was telling a story about him and Vern Holland. Vern Holland, a black offensive lineman in the mid-70s. Very, very good offensive line the Bengals had. And those two got to form a very special relationship. And Dave, to this day, remembers that he was invited to his birthday party with his family. Well, Dave was the only white guy that he invited to that birthday party. And Dave, was a little uneasy about it, right? He goes in and he's like, it doesn't matter about the skin. We were talking about the same things, our families and all those things. And it was kind of, I would say to go back to listen to the Bengals Beat podcast with Lapp and Dan Horde. Dave had some really cool stories to share about that. I mean, I love all my black brothers and sisters at the end of the day. And it's one of those things where obviously you don't know how other people live if you're not living in their shoes. Nobody does. We can sit here and make statements about that, but you just don't know. You just don't know at the end of the day. And I thought it was really neat when I heard Darren Simmons say, Simmons, I don't know exactly what the comment was, but it was something to the effect that this is the closest knit unit that he has seen in this team for many, many years. And for Darren Simmons, who's been here for a very long time, for him to say that gets me excited about everything to do with this organization and this team now and as we continue to go down the road. So I don't know about you guys, man, but I thought that was a very powerful statement.
You mentioned Trey Hopkins earlier, and I think he was the one that really spearheaded this operation. especially that speech. You can see there, you see Mike Brown in the background. The other thing, if you scroll through those pictures, you can see Katie Blackburn in those pictures. So as you said, Jimmy, the whole Bengals ownership, front office staff was there. But props to Trey. I think when he gave that speech, from what I've heard from various Cincy media outlets, was he basically took the thoughts of a lot of the players and then put that together and stood up there along with Joe and reiterated that to us. So,
and it was really cool. A lot of the players got some education on Cincinnati football history, just football history here with Paul Brown before coming to Cincinnati, and him integrating players in Cleveland when he was coaching in Cleveland, and integrating players in 1968 when he came here in Cincinnati. There was players that wouldn't take. There were still teams that weren't taking a more than a certain number of black football players. Paul Brown didn't care. If you could play, you were getting a spot. He didn't care what color you were. And Paul Brown was instrumental in that. And a lot of players got some education. They did not know that. So they were educated this week by Mike Brown about the history of his dad and integration in football with white and black players. I thought it was a great story this week. So.
Yeah, I agree. Sam in the chat said it best, I think. Seeing Mike Brown there was great. Has to mean a ton of the players. Yeah. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? So it's good to see everyone come together and use the platform to, like you said, Jimmy, you don't know unless you live in someone's shoes. You don't know.
That's exactly right.
Sports is such a distraction, guys, but I think when there's a platform, you have a bit of a responsibility to use it to do good things. So,
yep.
Yeah.
Well, that your comment right there, Jamie, ties into a little bit of what we asked CJ about. So we pre-recorded this interview earlier this week. Actually, I think it was a day before maybe this event, just, when they did the march over to the Freedom Center. So we didn't get a chance to really ask him specifically about that because it hadn't happened yet. But he actually had an answer in here about distractions and stuff going on that Jamie asked. So this interview is a lot of fun. So, but before we cue this up, we put this on. Understand that he was thrown into this interview, right? And he really didn't know what to expect. So I want you to look at CJ's face when we start the interview off, when we say, hey, we scour the internet, YouTube, looking for videos, and we found one of you, CJ. He was mortified. He's like, what'd you guys find? He was just funny moment on Sunday Night Football with Bengal Jim and Friends. With that being said, enjoy this interview with CJ.
All right, give me 1 sec here to cue this up.
All right, guys. Welcome, Bengals tight end CJ Uzomah. How you doing, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm doing well.
All right, CJ. You probably never watched the show before. We've got a couple things we do on the show. Every guest for the past 17 weeks that we've had on, a Bengal player, a former Bengal player, we always scour the internet and YouTube and anywhere we can find videos. And we found a video clip of you, CJ, that we want to talk about. So if you could play the first clip, Jamie, he's scared.
You're scared. What did you play? Let's go. Yes.
We get the full 30 seconds here.
I mean, come on, this is a banger.
I love the.
Oh, CJ, dude, you had me dying. You had probably about 6 to 10 of these I found, and I had to just pick one of them. So what are you doing there? Car karaoke? What is it?
Yeah, it's car karaoke. I sing. I mean, I know when I'm driving around and you're just kind of looking left and right and just, paying attention to the road, you see people just yelling in cars, singing as loud as they can. So I was like, you know what? I'd do the same thing. And I'm going to do these to just like the corniest songs that I can find. And so I initially did it, and it would be when I pulled up into my house and I would send it to my boys. I'd pull up, I'd sing a song, send it to some of my boys, and they're like, bro, you got to post some of these. These are kind of funny. And so I just started posting them, and yeah, it's just something I think is kind of fun to do. Just I don't know, music is really big in my life, so I thought, why not just let it out for the world to know.
Dude, we freaking loved it, man. That was great. That's good stuff, man. We love the personality, man. It's a lot of fun, and that you're able to do that. So, thanks for. I know we put you on the spot pretty early there, CJ. We scared you, man.
Yeah, I was like, man, what did they find me on the internet?
Like, what did I just walk into? Jeez.
Right.
Hi, this first question's football related, a little more serious note. Obviously, 2020 has been a crazy year. It was announced earlier this week that no fans in the stand for week 1, the home opener. What's the buzz in the locker room about playing in front of no fans? And do you anticipate any trouble in getting up for a game without 50,000 plus, in the stand?
No, I think the weirdest thing might be just the communication. I don't really know. I mean, there's a lot of trash talking that goes on the field. That's one thing, but just communicating in general. There's not going to be. I mean, there's not going to be any trouble. We're not going to have to go on like a silent cadence. Really, I don't really know if it's been announced on whether or not you can pump sound in stadiums. But to me, it's we're just going to have to bring our own juice. I think it's going to be tough, but that's something that. We're going to start preparing for now that it's been announced, and try to get on track with that.
Yeah, that's crazy. So just to let you know, CJ, we've got probably 30,000 people that are going to sneak into the stadium dressed as green seats. So we'll be there for you, brother. Don't worry.
That is perfect. I love that. I love that energy. That's the energy that we need right there.
Oh yeah. All right, so I'm the one that don't ask serious questions, as you can tell, CJ. So do you know Marissa Contepelli that works for the Bengals?
I do.
Okay, so can you tell her that Jamie said hi? She's president of her fan club.
Yeah, I see that. I'm looking right now. I see it. I got you. I'll go right now. I already know. Jamie Stevens said what's up. I got you.
Blessing. We have her blessing. So.
All right, Jimmy. Hey, CJ. Here's what's funny. I was looking back and prepping for this a little bit. You were drafted by the Bengals in 2015. Mm-hmm. You were kind of the young buck in the tight end room at that point, man. You were the young one learning from the vets. Man, I'm looking at this roster now, man. You're the OS. You're the old school guy now, man. You're the vet that people are looking to. You got Drew Sample, you got Carter, and a couple other guys there. But what does it feel like now from 2015 to now being the head guy there that people are looking up to?
Yeah, it's different. Ike was always the person for me that was the old guy in the room, and his departure kind of, I was thrust upon that seat. And so every time something comes up and the tight ends are texting me, asking me questions, I'm like, wait, I have to know the answer. Okay, yeah. All right, this is this. Let me find out this answer. So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting for me. I still feel like I'm super young. And so I still, I think I'm a little kid at heart. So, but I think with the chemistry that we have, with everything that's going on with Coach Casey and, it's a good time, but we get serious when we need to, for sure.
That's good, man. So the other thing too, I think you caught Andy Dalton's last touchdown pass for the Cincinnati Bengals, and we've got money in Vegas on you catching the first Joe Burrow pass on September 13th, early in the first quarter against the Chargers, brother. So just make sure you took.
I'll keep that in mind.
So what's the relationship been like with the new QB1 now, brother? How's it been with him?
No, it's been really good. He's the man, honestly. I mean, he's a smart kid. I think a lot of us are pleasantly surprised with just the maturation of him, just as a person. I don't know. It's the calls that he's making, the adjustments, the checks, the intricacies of playing quarterback and getting the protection right, the slide this way, do this, do that. And we're like, wait, okay, cool. Like I didn't know we had that in our arsenal, but we can do it. Nice. He's like, why not? Why wouldn't we just do this and this? And like, all right, yeah, you're right. So the chemistry is it's obviously it's not where we want it to be. We're expecting to be perfect, honestly, with everything that we do and how we align and getting open on certain coverages and things like that. But yeah, I think everything's going really, really well. And he's adjusting a lot better than I think a lot of us had expected.
That's awesome. I know we got a few more minutes here. Jamie, I know you had something you wanted to run by CJ as well.
Yeah, CJ, and again, I'm not going to get political here, but with everything going on in the world right now, with protests and COVID, like how hard is it for you guys to focus on, the X's and O's of football?
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, when I hit the football field, I kind of try to let everything else just dissipate. I try to, that is my escape. I said that music's a big part of my life, and it is, but football to me, when I'm on the field, everything else just goes to the wayside for that, hour and however many minutes we're out on the field. And sometimes, in meetings, things creep up and you start thinking about this and thinking about that. So I think that's the thing that kind of weighs the most, the off of the field. But for me, when I'm on the field, that's like my sanctuary. I love being able to, just let everything go, whether it's family issues that I have, whether it's, things outside of football. That's my me time, to be with my brothers. Cause the guys that I'm on the field with, those are my brothers. I spend more time with them, and I've spent more time with them than I've spent with my parents and my friends and anybody else over the past 6 years. So yeah, I think that part of it, being on the field is kind of my escape, but obviously off the field, it turns into a whole nother deal and a whole nother weight that, we can't quite, we're not going to be able to shake off the field for me.
We're going to end this on a funny note. We appreciate your time, but a little birdie has said you and Gio Bernard have an ongoing prank back and forth. Can you share any of the pranks that you and Gio have partaked in?
Yeah, I mean, Gio likes to act like he's a little kid sometimes because he's got Chloe, he's got his wife Chloe. He's kind of tied down sometimes at home. He's a mature, dad, whatever, but he's not a dad. But he has a dog and he acts like a dad. But so he tries to prank me sometimes. I'm like, bro, you don't get this. Like I am a kid. Like I go mess with his car sometimes. I think it stopped with me. I had Post-it notes, and I sticky noted his entire car, and he was not happy. So he stopped. Like after that, he was like, I'm done with this. But I had Post-it notes. I Post-it noted Geo, and then just all these random colors. And then I had these little, I forget what they're called, the little like not zip ties, but like they're fuzzy, whatever. And I put those on his rims and put that on his window, put it on his windshield wipers. And he looked at me like I waited for his reaction. He just stopped, looked at his car, looked at me, and was just like, "You've got to be kidding me." He was not happy at all. So it was fun. I drove off. I wasn't going to help him with the cleanup. I don't know how he cleaned it up. Honestly, I hope it took him a long time. But yeah, that's where we ended it. So I'm hoping, for his sake, that he stops.
Yeah. We'll just close. Hey, look, man, CJ, we want you and the rest of the boys to know, man, Bengals Nation's out here, man. If we can't be in that damn stadium, we will be there. We will be watching, big dog. So let them know we're here for you. We're excited for the season. Bengals Nation's here, and I know we have a couple hundred people coming down to the bridge Friday to watch practice Friday if you guys are outside. So let everybody know we're excited out here. And, man, I've never been so excited for Bengals season, CJ. So get the boys going down there and keep it going. We appreciate you being with us today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate the support that you guys give us.
Absolutely. Who day, buddy?
Who day?
Thank you.
Can you imagine Gio's car?
I want pictures. Can somebody provide us pictures of that?
Just what a great guy. And I think somebody said it in one of the message boards just now. Just what his attitude, his personality is infectious. Sam, you hit it right on the nose, buddy. He's such a positive guy. And what he just kind of lets you know what kind of person CJ is. So practice Tuesday tells you I'm not a professional interviewer because we told CJ that interview, hey, we're going to act like it's Sunday night and we're going to tape it. And here I am telling him I want to be down there Friday. This was past Friday, right?
I never even caught that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. James did a good job with it. I suck at this. But anyway, so what was funny, we had a huge amount of people who said they were going to be down there. We had literally estimated maybe 130, 140 people. Hey, James. Hey, I see Lori saying hi to you. We had like 130, 140 people that said they were going to be down at the bridge. Well, weather got really bad late Friday, so they moved the practice from like 2:50 to 11 o'clock. So there was only like 30 people down there because people couldn't get off work any earlier than what they were doing. We had some people coming in from Detroit. We had people driving 2 hours from Portsmouth, Yellow Springs, Ohio. We had a kid come up from Lexington. There was a good 30 people there. After the practice was over with, we're walking down the bridge, walking to the car, and all of a sudden you hear somebody yelling from the field. CJ Uzomah ran all the way from the field closest to the football stadium all the way over to the rehab field, which is the field closest to the bridge, to yell at us just to say hi. And I posted a video of that on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram earlier, but what a cool thing. That guy running all the way over. He remembered that little 10 minutes we spent with him earlier in the week, and he genuinely appreciated it. What a great dude, and that was a fun interview we had with him.
Yeah, that was great to get our first current player. Last 16, 17 episodes had a lot of the OGs, as you call them, Jimmy, which is great. And it was just exciting to get our first current player. And as you said, a great interview, fun. He's amped up about the season, just like all of us, the fans are.
So I'd like to give a shout out to the Bengals for giving us access to that interview, having a current player come on. So it's such a big deal for us. I mean, we're fans doing a fan show to get the support of the team and have a current player come on.
We're becoming mainstream media.
Yeah.
Episodes in. Along those lines, Jamie, you've got a fan club that sends you presents. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. I want to give a shout out really quickly to Kevin Braun, my fellow Canadian Bengals fan. I guess he got my address from you, Jimmy.
He did.
This arrived in my mail the other day. Really cool. So thank you very much. I believe I'm the first person on the show to get fan mail. So,
you're also the first person that has like an arrest warrant from Marissa too. So
remember we had him on as a fan of the week. He told us a story about how he was picked Canada's Cincinnati Bengals super fan. So Panini actually made some cards of him. He threw a couple of those in the package as well. So shout out to Kevin. Thanks, brother. I really appreciate it. I tried to find you on Facebook to say thank you, but apparently you're only on Twitter, and I don't tweet.
Yeah,
I'm not a tweeter.
I posted for you. I said, yeah, there he is.
Yeah. Thanks again, Kevin. That was awesome, dude. That was great.
Good stuff. One more thing before we get into Bengals History 101. I forgot to mention earlier, Craig Johnson and the Joe Burrow rolled cigars, the one he smoked on national championship night. We will be giving away some cigars next Sunday. The only way you could win these cigars is if you're subscribing to our YouTube channel and you're participating in the chat area in any way, shape, or form. Next Sunday, we got a surprise guest we'll talk about here after we get done with this one-on-one. But some cigars, Joe Burrow cigars, next Sunday. You've got to be subscribing to YouTube, and you got to be active in the chat area on YouTube next Sunday. If you type in anything in the chat area during that show, you will be eligible to win those cigars from our buddy Craig Johnson, who will personally be on the show to give those away for you.
And before we go to Cam and Tom and our History 101 segment, we have Question of the Week. We're going to slide that a little earlier than what we normally do. So, Jamie, if you want to present that up there.
Yeah, so as you guys know, we like to be a little timely with our Question of the Week. So here we go. Question of the Week this week. Looking for your feedback in the chat. For his migraines, does Joe Mixon take Tylenol, Advil, or days off for a new contract?
Let's maybe back up a little bit, because I think there was a lot of buzz on social media when Joe missed a couple days of camp this week. Everybody's, hey, Joe's holding out. He's waiting on a contract, blah, blah, blah. So we thought we'd have a little fun with the trivia. Question of the week for our fans. Personally, I'm an ibuprofen guy. Give me ibuprofen for those hangovers on road trips. But to answer this question of the week, hopefully he gets that new contract. I want the hometown discount, as we've talked about many times, and just like 2 packages of ibuprofen for Joe for his migraines.
Just as I say thanks to the Bengals for giving us access to a player, we throw out this question. But we're allowed to be fans first. I'm not going to lie. At first, I thought for sure this was a contract play, but he took part. He came out to scrimmage today. Obviously, didn't dress for it, but he was on the field doing some warm-up drills, apparently. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm more of a ibuprofen guy myself. I find migraines though, I just need to sleep it off. Like nothing touches it.
But the crowd in or the pumped in crowd noise was a big topic. Talking about today's scrimmage, there was video of him and AJ on the sideline. So obviously the crowd noise was not affecting those migraines today. Just saying.
Well, hey, I don't take any Advils or Tylenols or Midols, whatever the hell you want to take for headache. I'm just telling you, you just give me a little bottle of bourbon and my headache is gone. I don't care what kind of headache it is. But we're joking, everybody, right? We're just having fun with this, right? So he did go to the dentist this week. Who knows? This could be legit. But a lot of players go through this. What's your take on this, guys? Well, I mean, everybody that's watching right now is he just kind of doing it, maybe just holding out a few more days to, trying to get that he's not happy getting the contract extension. What do you guys think?
So we got Bengal Bobby says new contract money. Luke says days off for new contract. Marianne, I think most people. I just hope he isn't consulting with Corny Glenn.
Yes, Brian, I agree.
So he says pay Mixon. I think we've all agreed on that. Pay Mixon with the hometown discount.
With the hometown
Chris, I thought they were close to making a deal with Joe. He was saying little hints a while back on Twitter. Yeah, we thought the same thing as well.
Yep.
This one's funny. Jungle Joe, show prime time the money and those headaches go away.
I would agree with that.
Bengal Bobby also agrees with you. Bourbon for headaches.
Yeah, it works.
Days off, pay him.
He's an important part of this team. I mean, legitimately. I mean, he's going to hopefully tote that ball 20 times a game. He's going to get a lot of passes out of the backfield. He is a special talent if he can stay healthy. I'm telling you, this is going to be a special year, man. I'm pretty excited about this.
I could see a complete rebuild or something, but look at the weapons we have. Like, to not have him there in the backfield would be a huge mistake. Huge mistake.
The running backs take such a beating, especially in today's NFL. There's only so much tread on those tires. We all talk about the days off that veterans get. If we need extra for the running back, no problem. But with that being said, let's appreciate everyone's feedback. We can see it. I think everybody agrees with us. But exciting history 101. Jimmy, let's
bring on our guy here. So we're going to have Tom Justin, who joins us every week, and we're going to have our good friend Cam Miller join us today. Cam, how you doing, buddy?
Doing
good. Can you hear us? Make sure we're good on volume.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Perfect. Well, everybody, this is Cam Miller. I think it's the first time I've actually seen him in person, other than his Facebook and Twitter picture. But
I'm a real person.
That's right. That's right. So Cam, on the screen here with us is Tom Justin, who I think you're friends on the social media as well.
Yes.
You guys finally get to meet, but just a quick introduction here. Now, Cam is a local historian here. Actually, Cam, I'm going to let you do. What's your role? What do you do? I know you work with the Reds and do some things for them as well, but I know you a lot of history here that you handle as well.
Yeah, I have been a filmmaker for 15 years now with the Reds. That's kind of how I got my start. I was a full-time employee there, and I branched out after doing a few films with them, and my client list took off. But I've always kept that history side. It's one thing to do commercials and do the what keeps the lights on, but there's something just magical and something that drives me is just finding out these little nuggets in history that not a lot of people talk about. And I've done it for the Reds for 15 years. And recently I've been digging into some more of the Bengals history, and it's just been a fascinating journey. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we're guys, usually Tom and I, everybody that's viewing right now on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, Tom and I usually dig into some point on Bengals history, which really starts 1968 on. So we're going to go even back prior to that, Cam. So you've got a little prelude. You have a film coming out called, I think, Before the Bengals, but we're going to start. I'm going to show this prelude at you. It's a couple, 2 or 3 minutes. It really starts in the late 1800s. We get into the early 1900s. We get all the way up to the current Cincinnati Bengals. So we're going to play this short clip, and this is Cam kind of previewing his Bengals history. Before the Bengals history segment here. So I'm excited to see this. This is a first, guy. Nobody other than Cam, nobody has seen this before. So you guys are first on Sunday Night Football with Bengal Gems with this video. Shoot it.
when the fire started. By all accounts, Myers was a wonderful husband and the father of 6 children. He had been with Onken for several years and learned the craft of furniture and picture frame making from his Prussian-born father. He was also very athletic and had just become a member of the recently formed West End Football Club. As news of his death spread throughout the city, many charity events were organized to financially assist Mrs. Myers and the children, who, unlike the firemen's families, had no insurance to speak of. One of those events was a charity football game to be held at the Cincinnati Reds League Park on Thanksgiving Day, November 26, 1891, at 3 o'clock. The game was organized by Myers' friend James Keenan, who was the president of the West End Football Club. The West Enders would match up against the newly formed Queen City Football Club. More than 500 Cincinnatians attended, including members of several other athletic clubs in the tri-state. Over $1,000 was raised for the Myers family, with the West Enders prevailing 5-0. This match game was football in its infancy. Association rules were much different than the football we know today. The college game had only been around for a little over a decade, and there were only a handful of football clubs in the tri-state in 1891. With the success of the benefit game, athletic clubs began forming football clubs, and in a few short years, there were football teams from Price Hill, Walnut Hills, the Cincinnati Gym Club, and clubs in Covington and Newport on the Kentucky side of the river. These amateur clubs drew fairly well and established a new football fandom in Cincinnati and the surrounding river towns. Their popularity, combined with the rise of high school and college football, helped lay the foundation for professional football in the Queen City.
So Cam, we had a little issue with the audio there earlier. That wasn't on yours. That wasn't on yours. That was on our side. So just update people on basically what happened at late 1800s, how that started.
Right. Well, football obviously was a lot different back then, and there was no professional football to speak of, but there were these amateur clubs that started forming around. The high school and college scene was, for a decade there, was pretty lively, but you had these men, these blue-collar men that would form these athletic clubs, and one would form, another would form. Well, one of the guys, like I say in that prologue there, he dies in this tragic fire, and all of these clubs come to this charity game at the Reds ballpark, and they start talking and networking, and let's play a match game here, let's play a match game there. So they started to build more and more teams. It was kind of like that. Those were the seeds that were planted that kind of started. The foundation was laid for when the Cincinnati Celts, then the Reds, and then of course the Bengals would come. So as those 1890s, they were very, very. It was kind of skittish where teams would rise and then they'd fall and they'd rise and they'd fall. But that's where you had Covington, Newport, you had Price Hill, Walnut Hills, the Gyms. There's so many teams that formed, and it all started with that charity football game.
And interesting. So let's kind of go from there. So that late 1800s, that fire and those amateur teams that were around the city. So let's move up a little further in time here. 1910, the Cincinnati Celts. Talk about them.
Right, the first professional football team. So originally this film was going to come out in 2021 to have the 100th anniversary of the first professional football team. But I was also working on the Ezra Charles doc, and things kind of got with the situation we're in. Things kind of got shifted around, and I decided to go ahead and do this now because I had a little bit more time. I felt it was important, especially with this new era of Bengaldom. I thought, what better way to maybe gain some new fans and maybe have an appreciation if we can kind of tie in some of the history. People that don't know it, I didn't know that, and they're going to learn something. So the Celts were a team that has just a fantastic story. They start in 1907, 1910. They're kind of hanging around as an amateur. They become a semi-pro team. I could go on and on about them, but I will give you the Cliff Notes version of how they broke Jim Thorpe's ribs in a game, and that was frowned upon. They had their coach. One of their coaches was Mel Daugherty, who his son ended up being the dance partner of Doris Day. He was the band leader after he retired from football. There's all kinds of these little stories, these little nuggets that add up. And this is in the 20s. So they become the first professional team in the NFL. They only last a year. They win one game, they lose 3, but that was the foundation for professional football. And it's with the hard C. I learned that the hard way.
I was going to ask you that. I think I heard you say it earlier, but they were called. I mean, I was reading up a little bit on this too, and you probably know this, but they were called. They were known as a bunch of wild Irishmen, I think, is what they were called.
Right. And they were mostly from Miami University students that were on the team early. So yeah, they were known to have a few brawls in their day.
Yeah. And the one thing that I saw in there, they were around for a little while, and they had some pretty good years. They played a team in October of 1916 that had a 13-year winning streak, Pine Valley, Indiana, and they broke that 13-year winning streak. The Cincinnati Celts did, and won that game 9-6. So that Celts team had some really good years.
It's so fantastic, and that's like their highlight. I mean, they did have some. They were in the Ohio League. They won championships, but that game, 117 games, Pine Village won. Population of I think 300. 13 years. They never even let. I don't think they gave up a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. And the way the Celts win the game is George Rudabush, who was a famous football player, went on to become a lawyer in Cleveland. Very smart guy. He stood behind the punter. And in those days, you could do that. You were allowed to stand behind the punter, and that person was allowed to recover the ball on a free kick. So the Celts punter punts the ball into the end zone. Rudabush runs all the way down, gets it in the end zone, and it's a touchdown. And the Celts win the game. 117 wins, gone after that one game. And Indiana still talking about that.
Yeah, Tom and I were at that game. It was great.
Jimmy tailgated that game.
I thought so.
You mentioned Rudabush. Not only did he change football rules with that play, but if you look back at his history, he invented the forward pass
exactly
a year before Notre Dame started trying it. At Denison University, where Pete Brown went. 60 years later, but. Nonetheless, he created that and just decimated teams in college. Everybody in Ohio, UC, Miami, Otterbein. And he also played in the same backfield with Jim Thorpe.
Right. And when Jim Thorpe went to play baseball, Rudabush would go play for the Canton Bulldogs, then come back and play for the Celts. So he would sub. And then he goes and he becomes a lawyer for I think 70 years in Cleveland. Just an unbelievable story. And one of those stories that nobody really knows.
Yeah, and Cam, to your point, I mean, people that are listening right now are like, no idea that most. But so let's go on from the Celts. That very good stretch the Celts had here in Cincinnati, and let's go on to the Cincinnati Reds football team, who didn't have a very good stretch in Cincinnati. The 1933-1934 Cincinnati Reds football team.
Right. So 10 years, fast forward 10 years, the Celts disbanded in 23. The Reds come in 33 in the NFL, the new NFL. They have a meeting on July the 8th, I think it was. They admit 3 teams. It's Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh. Of course, Pittsburgh, right? And they start this division thing. So there's a Western division, and in the Western division and the Eastern division. So Cincinnati's in the Western division. There's Green Bay, Portsmouth, who became the Lions, Cincinnati, and the Chicago Bears and Cardinals. So, yeah, they were awful, but they were in the league. And again, the tradition continues. Whether or not they're awful, it really is irrelevant. They had fans. They were, again, part of that foundation I talked about. I think they were 3-6-1 their first year. And then in 2004, they're 0-8.
Yeah.
And then their last game was November 6th, and they played Philadelphia, and they lost 64-0. And that was it at the Baker Bowl in Philadelphia. And they're like, okay, it's time to call it quits. So they disband. So Cincinnati's without professional football again.
It's funny because I think in 19, I don't know if it was 33 or 34, they set an NFL record for the fewest points in NFL history and only won 3 games in 2 years.
Right. And I think it was the most yards. I think it was rushing. Like they averaged the opponent with 6.5 a carry or something. It was insane. It's like, what? But
good.
I think their positive contribution would be they did have some really cool uniforms and helmets.
Sweet uniform.
And they played something very rare back then, and before it was even dreamed of in baseball. They played a night football game,
Right,
at Corcoran Field at Xavier, where Xavier played, which was practically unheard of. That might have been the height of their popularity and notoriety, and that was it. That, and I would have loved, even though the Bengals did it later, the first Bengals, I would have loved to have seen a football field at Crosley Field.
right, exactly.
And so again, the Reds, not a lot of success for a few years, but then we fast forward to 1937, and we have the Cincinnati Bengals. And Cam, usually Tom and I will tie in some Bengals memorabilia, and I don't have much part of 1968. Just to let you know, the only thing I do have is that picture that Jamie just popped up. I have a Tippy Dye little guy here, and he was an Ohio State superstar that he came down here and played for the Bengals. He was a big get for the Bengals.
What a story that Tippy Dye has. I mean, one of the cool things that personally for me is just behind my house here, I'm in my home studio, is Dayton, Kentucky's football field. And that is where the first Bengals scrimmage, talking about a scrimmage today, ever happened, was at the Dayton, Kentucky high school football field. And one of those people that was at that field for that scrimmage in 1937 was none other than Harry Rose, Pete Rose's father. So, and that's just like 15 feet behind me. So I always think about that when I'm taking the dogs out, about how that field plays such an important role in the formation of the Bengals. But again, the Bengals of 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, a totally different game than it is now. But again, it goes back to the history and how every single step of the way there is something that important happens. And of course, the most important thing of all for our current Bengals is what? The Bengals were named for this team.
Yeah, tell that story, Cam, how that happened. How did the Bengals get that name?
Unbelievable. I mean, Hal Pennington, who was the coach of this team, the founder, he was a famous football coach, very well respected. He names them the Bengals after sitting in his mother's kitchen and sees the stove, and the stove is a Bengal stove. And I actually saw one time, and I really wanted to buy it. It was out of my price range just to have the stove. It had the Bengal logo, like he described in interviews later. It just had this, it said Bengal, and it was a tiger across it, and he loved it. That's the name of my team. And so he names them the Bengals. And of course, fast forward to when Paul Brown has his press conference, and Hal Pennington is in the audience. He's there at this press conference, and they're looking through the scrapbook, and Paul Brown says, I named it. I wanted to tie in to the history of this city. So, I mean, it's right there in black and white. It's just an amazing story.
So the Bengals are named after a refrigerator, Cam? Is that what you just said?
A stove, but yeah.
Okay, stove. My bad.
A kitchen appliance. Think about that.
They adapted to a tiger, Jimmy.
Okay, good. So, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff we could get into, Cam. I was so excited to have you on. You've been a great follow for many years, and if everybody remembers that's watching right now, that a few weeks ago we had a topic that Tom and I went over about Bengals, Ring of Honor. Then we started talking at the Bengals Hall of Fame and certain statues that we would want in and around Paul Brown Stadium. And Cam had done some mock-ups of those things over the years, and we shared those on a show before last or something like that. So very cool stuff, Cam. So when the Bengals do the Hall of Fame and get these things, we're going to make sure we get you in there. Tom and I are going to make this stuff happen, brother. People need to know. What are some of the sayings you said? And I can't remember it off the top of my head. I should have wrote it down. But
in order to move forward, you have to remember your past. You have to. And it's so important that we tend to, especially fans, when things go wrong, we want to yell and scream at the Bengals, deservedly so. We want to throw insults at Mike Brown. But how lucky are we to have a professional football team in this city? And not only that, but there has been a story every step of the way since football began where Cincinnati has this special place. And we kind of sweep it under the rug. The Reds get their day in the sun, but the Bengals have such a unique history that nobody talks about or remembers, or they don't know. And that's why I'm glad that you guys and on Twitter, we share pictures, we tell stories to get the ball rolling so that when we do have that Hall of Fame, we've got the players like Munoz and Anderson and the family members of Hal Pennington and Mel Daugherty and Tippy Dye that could come to an event and just bring that history all together and celebrate the Cincinnati Bengals, who are our team.
it's a special part of our area and our heritage, and I think, football being such a unique game and such a special part of Cincinnati, high school, college, and the Bengals. I mean, we are the elite of the elite because we have an NFL franchise. We have the
Correct.
Bengals. And
Absolutely.
with that come the lows of the lows hurt that much more, but the highs of the highs are that much better. I know I've heard several sportscasters and sports historians have told me they've never seen this city so wrapped up and so energized. And I think you were out of town at the time, Cam, but that 1988 march to the Super Bowl.
Right.
Well, and I think the exciting part is, and going back and appreciating so much of the Bengals history and Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky's football history, but the great part is the best yet to come.
Exactly. Well said.
Love it. And people just don't know. Cam, you hit it in your comment earlier, right? It's, people will say, hey, Bengals don't have any history. Let me tell you something. Not only do the Bengals have a boatload of history, it goes before the 1968 Paul Brown Bengals. This city has a rich history of football, and we appreciate people like you, Cam, that's bringing this to light and help educating us and everybody that's watching and viewing right now, because this stuff needs to be told. With that being said, tell us about your film and your release and what's coming up next with that.
Right. Well, we were going to do a release in 2021. Like I said, it was going to be a Q&A event. I usually do films at libraries or small theaters in my past films. But I think with the situation being what it is, I decided to move up the date. It's going to be September 18th. It'll be free to view digitally on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, and I'll be posting links and pictures as I often do as we get closer to it. But I just finished the sound for it this morning. It is ready to go. A few more tweaks here and there, and we'll be ready to rock. And I cannot wait to share it because it means a lot to me because it brings back memories of me as a kid going to Wilmington and seeing those teams with Boomer and Kenny. It also is so important to me because of the fact that, like I said before, there is a history that if we don't do it, who's going to?
That's right.
We have to do it so the future happens. We have to know the past, and we don't make the same mistakes, and we learn from it. It's so important to me. So I'm glad you guys are on board. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I think very shortly there's going to be a lot of Bengals history to embrace and celebrate and remember. But like I said, more so the current team and the future, the direction of the franchise. We saw a lot of that this weekend. It's great guys are going to be very easy to root for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So guys, everybody that's watching, make sure you follow Cam on, he's big on Twitter. He's got a Facebook page. We're reposting his things as well. Just in case you miss them, we're going to be posting those things as well. A lot of fun stuff coming through the pipeline here from Cam. But Cam, we appreciate everything you do, buddy. It was great. Tom and I were really geeked out about being able to talk to you tonight.
It's an honor to talk to the legends. Please.
Cam, we appreciate your time, buddy. We'll keep up with you. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Take care.
That was fun, Tom.
Yeah, he's incredible. He is and he works so hard, and he really loves the area and loves all the franchise. I mean, if there's anything you can mention, I remember not too long ago I said something to him. I said, "Hey Cam, what do you have about John Wooden started his basketball coaching career there at Dayton High School?" I said, "You got anything on that?" And my phone bings like 2 minutes later. He's like, "I'm halfway through a project on that. I've got all the research. I've got a letter that, one of his ex-players wrote him at Christmas one year," and it just goes on and on. So I don't think the guy sleeps.
Dude, he's fun, man. He loves you said it. I think you hit it perfectly there, Tom. He loves the area. He loves this region for sure.
Yeah, I want to apologize to Cam about the audio issue there at the start. We had people in the chat ask if there's a way to post that from the watch, so we'll have to ask Cam about that. I know people want to see the first 30 seconds or so of the audio that was missed. So,
yep, I will be.
He's got a couple.
I'll be posting that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks great.
And the other thing, Tom, that was funny, he posted a picture that he found of, I don't know what year. I think it might have been a 37, 38 Bengals or something. But it showed the team, kind of a black and white photo. And it was later in the year. And, they were wearing their long sleeves. But a lot of them had blankets, like team blankets they were wearing. I was like, we're going to bring back the team blankets, man.
The one thing I didn't get to squeeze in with him on that is during that period of time, and unfortunately World War II kind of got in and threw a bomb into it. As the NFL was looking to expand, the NFL showed a little bit of bump of popularity. and was catching up and passing college football and so forth. There was talk of maybe Cincinnati getting in the NFL then, and oddly enough, one of the guys most for Cincinnati, Art Rooney.
Yeah. People didn't know that, Tom. I can tell you that right now. So there'll be more stuff coming out on Cincinnati football history, not just Bengals, but before the Bengals, the region's history in football. It's a great story, and we'll keep following Cam. Thanks a lot, Tom. We appreciate your time again, Big Dog. Thank you.
All right, guys. Great job.
All right, see you. Interesting stuff, guys.
We packed a lot of stuff in that episode. Oh, James, you're muted, buddy. You got to unmute yourself. I can't do it on my end. There we go.
And we kept it to the hour time frame, too.
Yeah.
It's pretty darn close.
Yeah. Yep. So let's go ahead. James, closing comments.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about next week's show?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, guys. So next week, very special guest next week. We are going to have on the best linebacker in Cincinnati Bengals history. We've got Reggie Williams coming on. So I'm jacked about this, guys. This guy was a special player on this team for a very long period of time. From the 70s, he played in both Super Bowls and had, believe it or not, one of his best games in the very last, in the last Super Bowl the Bengals played in. The guy was all over the field. So Reggie Williams will be on with us next week, and I have been fighting really hard to get him on for a long time. And I finally wore him down, guys. We got him. We got Reggie next week.
It'd be good. And next Sunday, as we plan ahead, will be the last telecast in our traditional Sunday night at 8 o'clock time slot. So we got next Sunday right back here, 8 p.m. And then we're going to do the live show on game day on the 13th. And then as we transition, once the season starts, we are going to move to Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. So we're going to have a new time slot once the season is underway, which we think will work better for everybody. We know Sundays are hectic, whether you're traveling to the games, going home. We realize not everybody lives in Cincinnati. There's Sunday night football. There's 4 o'clock games. There's a lot of variables on Sunday. So starting the 15th, again, next week, regular time, Sunday the 13th, we'll be doing a show at the virtual tailgate and drive-in, and then September 15th will be our first Tuesday night show, 8 o'clock. It'll give us a chance to talk about the game the weekend before, the opponent ahead, and still with a lot of the fun stuff and guests that we have. So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And we're going to be the Sunday Night Football with Bengal Jim and Friends, Tuesday edition. I'm looking forward to that because we're going to be able to, like James just said, we're going to be able to wrap up from the previous games and then also preview the upcoming game that week. So I'm excited about that.
So everybody's got their Sunday Night Football with Bengal Jim and Friends shirt. Don't worry, we're not changing the name of this thing. All right.
Sunday Night Football on Tuesday. Yes.
Yep. That's right. That's right. But, guys, closing statements, guys. Anything else you guys want to hit on?
Go ahead, Jamie.
I'm staying up late tonight. Going to watch the Vegas Golden Knights play. Hopefully get one more game up against the Canucks. Looking forward to football getting going. Busy week at work this week. That's about it for me. You guys?
Yeah, no, I just want to thank the Bengals. CJ Uzomah was a great guest. Cam on the football history. We've got a exciting fan of the week next week lined up. Reggie Williams is going to be exciting. Again, Ken Anderson Alliance, our friends there. This is another one of the T-shirts that you can buy. Support them. Remember to sign up get your reserved parking spot for the 13th. Jamie, if you can pop up that link again, I'd appreciate it. Thank you to our buddy Craig Johnson for putting all that together. The debut of the Jimbotron on September 13th. A lot going on, but I'm excited for the opener. And 2 weeks from today, we'll be 1-0. So can't wait.
Yeah, good stuff. So we're closing. So remember, next week we're going to call it Cigars with Craig. Hell, we'll call it Bourbon and Cigars with Craig. So we're giving away a few cigars next week. The only way you can win those cigars is if you're subscribing to our YouTube channel and you're participating in the live chat area on YouTube. Craig will be with us next week to give away those cigars. Reggie Williams next week. Totally pumped about Reggie. Guy was an outstanding football player and citizen in our area for a long, long time. Just hit on the tailgate again. These spots, since it's very limited parking that we're going to be able to have because of the social distancing, the spots are going to go quickly, guys. If you want a spot, we will be posting the link. It is now open up to the public. So if you want that one of those spots, just make sure you grab it quickly because we cannot exceed the capacity that we have set on that lot. Okay, guys, that's it, man. Be safe. Thanks again so much for everybody to joining us. You don't understand how important it is to us, how you joining in. Hey, look, little Cannon's head popped up right there.
Yeah, he's supposed to be in bed. So as soon as we
oh Lord, Mom's out of town. Mom's out of town, and now Cannon. Mom's watching Cannon. You're in trouble. You're supposed to be in bed. But we appreciate. Thanks for everybody for joining. It means a lot. Just a bunch of fans like us having fun with a bunch of fans like you guys. It means a lot, and we appreciate it. Be safe. We appreciate everything, guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Stay safe, everyone.
Okay.